Don't just answer with short answers. Don't just say yes or no, or yeah, I really like that. Kind of talk more about it and show that you actually want to talk about it, and that you have some opinions and thoughts about the things that you're talking about. And finally, finishing strong. So how do you finish strong? You basically want to thank the interviewer for everything they've done. You want to shake their hands, and you want to email them if possible, promptly thanking them for their time, and acknowledging that you really appreciate that they came out to talk to you. Because the interviewer is going to give their little write-up pretty soon after they talk to you. So you don't want to wait. You don't want to wait like a month to thank the interviewer, because by that time they'll have kind of forgotten who you were, and don't really need to have that good impression anymore. And you obviously don't want to be like, oh, you were the best interviewer ever. Just be honest. Just say thank you, be polite, and just leave them with a good impression of you.
To add on, sometimes you won't, if you don't have their email because maybe they called you to set up the interview, it's always a good idea to ask for a business card when you're done, so you can have their contact information. Either email them a thank you or mail them. That's always really important. And also, it is important to have the contact information, because I know people who have gotten waitlisted from schools, and then once it comes March or April, when you find out your admissions decisions, they were able to talk to their interviewers who interviewed them, and then they sent in another recommendation, and then they got in. And I mean, it's always helpful to have that information on you.
Yeah, it never hurts to build a good relationship with your interviewer, regardless of whether or not you think you're going to get in. So, Ishan, do you have anything to add to in terms of general interview tips?
Most of what you guys said, I think all of it was what I would have said. Take care of your appearance. I think that's an important factor, because the first impression really makes. Unfortunately, a lot of people take that into consideration in the rest of the interview. Be yourself and be human, I guess. And yeah.
All right, thank you. And Pam, do you have anything to add to in terms of interview tips?
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything that you guys said. Secret confession, I had one outfit that I wore to every single college interview. It's not really a time to dress it up, especially, I don't know what it is for guys because I'm not a guy, but for girls, I think we have a little more leeway, a nice blouse, nice slacks, and maybe some kind of cardigan or blazer, and just stick to it, because you're going to be comfortable in it, you're going to know what you're wearing, and you're going to, you're going to know that you look good. And yeah, just generally be presentable, shake their hand, make eye contact, make sure you talk to them and not, to your hand. And yeah, I think I definitely agree with everything that's been said.
All right, that is actually fantastic advice. When you get an interview outfit, you stick with it. Don't try to change it up, change up your outfit every single time you talk to these people, because you're gonna talk to different people all the time. And though I don't doubt that many of you are gonna have as many interviews as Pam currently had, it's a good idea to have, regardless of whether you have 2 to 8 interviews, to just stick with that interview outfit, because it works, and you don't want to buy a new pair of shoes for an interview, and because you might end up walking around and you might get a blister, and you might have to drag your feet, or you have a sweater and it doesn't really fit that right, and it's all itchy. You don't want to risk it when it comes to these outfits. So you want to look good and be comfortable and know exactly what you're wearing and how it fits on you or how it feels. Because the worst thing to do in an interview is just to be constantly fidgeting or scratching or something. Any other questions? Okay.
Is Ishan still on?
Yes.
Yeah, he was talking about making connections earlier. I was wondering, what was the most interesting connection you made?
All right, so Ishan, the question is, what was the most interesting connection that you made in these interviews?
All right, that one I know. The most interesting connection I made was with my Dartmouth interviewer. So that guy was an older gentleman. I went to his house and I spent about 2 hours actually with him just talking. And we talked about everything, and similar to one of your interviews, Paul, he liked to talk about everything that was not Dartmouth, because he thought that was important to understanding who I was. And if I were to interview someone, I think I would probably do the same. he made me most comfortable, and I still talk to him to this day. He's actually involved in the film industry in Los Angeles, so it's interesting to have another perspective because I don't have much exposure to that. He didn't study anything related to that, but he's ended up there. I think that would probably by a long shot be the most interesting and, I guess, meaningful connection I've made through the interview process. He was a very interesting guy, and I remember him making me feel, I remember that we clicked, and I also remember that he made me feel comfortable to express who I was. I had done some linguistics in high school, and he was very interested in learning about what that meant and what that was. So, I mean, just he made me feel comfortable, and I still talk to him to this day. So it was a very unique and meaningful interview for me.
All right, thank you. Any other questions?